Welcome, everybody, to the Self Care Summit, day 3. Today, my name is Aditi, and today I'm going to be sharing with you how to hate yourself less and like yourself more. Such a powerful topic. This week is my birthday week, and I decided to do a self care summit because my mission is to help reduce emotional suffering in the world. It's something that I have struggled with immensely in my life, which has caused it's almost like carrying this heavy weight on you constantly everywhere you go. And when you're in it, you don't even realize you're in it. You just kind of feel crappy. You just feel kind of miserable. And I've experienced that in a lot of my life. And many times, although on the outside everything looked right and great and on point, right? I was deeply suffering on the inside, and it was difficult because people would be like, "Oh, what's wrong? Like you have a great job, you have a great life, you have a great this, you have a great that. You should be more grateful." And this caused me to suppress what I was feeling and made it even worse, right? Because when you suppress, when you resist what is, it kind of gets even bigger. And eventually it came to a point where it just exploded for me. And for me, it became a really dark, deep depression for over 2 years. And that's when I really started doing this deeper work where I was like, something is wrong. And if I don't start paying attention now, I don't know where I'm going to end up. And I don't know if I'm going to make it. And even though people had all these comments and all these things, right? It was hard for me to honor myself because I thought, what is wrong with me? Maybe something is wrong with me. And that's why I love today's topic is how to hate yourself less. Because oftentimes, right, we get into these kind of cycles and we feel like something is wrong, but everybody around us is like, but you have such a great life. I would die to have what you have. I would love to have the job that you have or to be having the schedule that you have, right? And then you end up suppressing things. And that's kind of where my self discovery journey really started and has brought me here today. And it has been such a healing experience for me inside and out. When people see me now, not only have I lost 60 pounds of physical weight, when people see me, they're like, you didn't just lose weight, there's something else. There's just this glow to you. You are just vibrating in another way. It's almost like your aura is sparkling. And it really has been through doing this work. And that's why when I hit another peak of depression about a year and a half ago, I decided, look, if I get through this, right? Because I was like, there's no way I'm going into that 2 year depression again. I'm not going there. So I was like, if I can get through this, I'm going to help other people get through their inner pain as well. And that's how I really started getting into doing this work and doing the stress management work. And I do talks for companies, for associations, for groups, and I run coaching programs. And it really is so fulfilling and is truly my life's work. So thank you for being here today. And I would love to hear from you in the comments, what drew you to this topic? What do you like about this topic, or what do you want to get out of today? Feel free to type it, whether you're watching on Zoom, whether you're watching on Facebook, or whether you're watching this later on YouTube. Hello also to my replay viewers. So for the last few days, we had two different experts. Dr. K spoke about how to stop comparing yourself. And yesterday we had Jocelyn talking about the BS of self-worth. So I made the theme of this summit all about self-confidence and self-love. I feel like these are big buzzwords that you hear, but how do we actually do it? How do we actually have the practical tools to help us thrive and even sometimes just survive? Okay, so let's get into it. And lastly, what I want to say is, if you haven't already signed up for the summit, if you want to get the replays and get all of these, you can head over to aditicreative.com/summit. So Aditi is ADITI. Awesome. All right. So today's topic is How to hate yourself less. Now, I want you to think about your childhood. I want you to go back in time and think about when you were a kid, like maybe a toddler. Can you remember the first time you saw yourself in the mirror? You were probably 2 or 3 years old, or not even saw yourself, actually recognized yourself. You're like, oh, that's me, right? Because sometimes I know babies can see themselves in the mirror, but they don't realize that that's them. So, can you remember when you looked at yourself in the mirror and you were like, wow, that's me? I can't believe that's me. Like putting your hands on the mirror, like, wow, and being so fascinated with yourself. Do you remember that moment? Me neither. That was so long ago, right? We were babies. So we might not be able to tune into that exact memory. But maybe, just maybe, you have a kid of your own, or you have a friend or a neighbor or a cousin, family member that has a kid, and maybe you saw that kid look at themselves in the mirror. And there's a mirror right here, right? So they're looking at themselves in the mirror and they're just like, wow, that's amazing. Look at me. Look at me, right? So much fascination and wonder and joy, the way they laugh with their full body and they get so excited to see themselves. And it brings you so much joy to see that. You're like, wow, what a beautiful thing to see somebody enjoy themselves, to see somebody be fascinated with themselves. I wonder what that feels like. So, what happened, right? What happened as we got older? What happened to that fascination? Do you still have that when you go in the mirror? Are you like, wow, look at me? That's me. Likely a lot of us don't do that anymore. A lot of us sometimes avoid the mirror. We avoid looking at ourselves. And it's funny, there was a study, it was some article I just read recently, and it was saying that like people's like self-confidence is going down because they have to constantly look at themselves in these Zoom meetings. And I thought that was so fascinating. Like we're so uncomfortable looking at ourselves, right? So what happened to that childlike wonder? Where did it go? This question fascinates me. And it makes me think about where along the line did we lose that fascination with ourselves? You may have had someone say something to you, right? Oh, you're too tall. You're too skinny. You're too fat. Your personality is weird. You dress weird. You can't dance. I don't know what you're doing, but you cannot dance, right? All of a sudden, we have all of these words and communication coming at us. And a lot of it we end up absorbing into our being, especially in those early years when we are still growing, when we don't really know anything about the world or ourselves. So we start to take these statements to be true. And then slowly, as we go into the mirror, as we're showing up in places, we're carrying all of these words in our being, in our body. And we're like, oh, no, but I'm too this, I'm too that. I'm just going to stand over here. Don't mind me. I'm just going to hide. Anyone resonate with the hiding? I know I do. So you can imagine the journey coming up to becoming a speaker and being in front of people, right? So somewhere along the line, we lost that childlike wonder. Now, I want to ask you, if I were to ask you right now, Do you hate yourself? What would you say to me? The first knee jerk reaction that comes out, do you hate yourself? Likely, you're going to say, no, I don't hate myself. You might even say, actually, I love myself. What are you talking about? Right? So then, why are we here today? Why is this an important topic? Why do we still struggle with our confidence if we love ourselves? And I'm that person many times too. I'm just like, yeah, I don't hate myself. I love myself. Like, look, what I have discovered is that in the background, we all have this level of hater energy buzzing in the back of our being. This hater energy is essentially ruling our lives. It is driving the car. It is deciding what we do and what we don't do. It is deciding the steps that we take. It is deciding the places and how we show up. This hater energy, whether it's mild or extreme, is buzzing in the back of our being and ruling our lives. So although you may not think, oh, I hate myself, right? You may think other things that are similar or might have a similar hater energy to it. It could be like, I suck. I'm never going to get this right. What am I doing with my life? Why isn't this working for me? I hate this, right? So the hate, you may not say, oh, I hate myself, but it may show up in other ways. It may show up in other words, in other language, right? So if someone had said something about, oh, you're too tall to do ballet, which I don't even know if that's a thing, I'm just making that up, right? It may stop you from pursuing ballet, even though you deeply desire to dance ballet. Someone may have said something to you about your writing abilities in school. So you may think, I'm not a good writer. Your experiences have turned into hater energy that is living inside of you. So now you don't pursue writing, even though you feel drawn to do it. Right? So that hater energy ends up creating hater blocks. These hater blocks are stopping us from living the life that we truly want to live. And more importantly, it's ruining the experience of life. It's dampening our spirit. And frankly, it's exhausting us. Can you imagine if you continuously have a draw to go do something, right? But this hater energy is coming out from the back and it's blocking you. But there's a part of you that wants to move forward, but then there's this block here, right? And sometimes this can be that resistance. And resistance we talked about yesterday, right? And this right here, this battle between the two selves is exhausting. Talk about burnout. You can burn yourself out just by this little battle inside of you. I want to do this, but I can't. I think I want to do this, but I can't. Right? It creates this inner battle between us. And then we just end up exhausted and not actually going after the thing that we feel so drawn to do. The author, Stephen Pressfield, he says, we all live two lives, two lives. The one life that we are living right now, and then the unlived life inside of us. Ooh, I love that so much because we all know about those urges we get. I have these conversations with people all the time. I really want to do this, but I don't know, right? That's that hater energy that is blocking you. So that's why we're here today, so we can start doing something about this hater energy. Do y'all want to shift your hater energy? Let me know in the comments. Because remember, this hater energy is creating hater blocks and is stopping you from fully living. And guess what? That creates more hater energy. It's a vicious cycle because you're like, man, I hate myself for not being able to go do that thing. What's wrong with me? So it's like just a vicious cycle of hate. So, what are we gonna do about it? So, I have a process for you today, and I made it super simple to help you when you start to realize this is happening, right? And even after this talk, there's no accident that you're here, whether you're watching this live or the replay, there's no accident that you're here because something has called you here to hear this message. We also talked about regrets yesterday, right? Regrets come from our hater energy ruling our lives. So let's see. I think this might be backwards, so I will change the camera. Is it backwards? Yeah, it looks like it is backwards. Can you guys see that right? Because it looks backwards for me. Is this better? You could read it the other way. Did I make it backwards now? All right, well, let me know. I'm going to continue if it's not readable. All right, so hating yourself less, what can we do? Okay, so we're going to use the acronym LIKE. Let me move this back a little bit so you can see the E. Okay, all right, LIKE. So LIKE. So we're going to start with L. So listen to your self talk. Now, you may not be able to catch this just on a regular daily basis. So, what you want to pay attention to is when you get triggered. Okay, this is the best way and best timing to really dive into this. So, if you are triggered, maybe someone said something to you and you're mad or you're upset, or a situation happened and the way someone behaved made you mad or upset, right? That is the moment you want to tune in and listen to your own self talk. So, what does that mean? Those are the thoughts that are going on in your head. Okay. This is where you become aware of where the negative self talk is happening. So, if somebody said something to me that was my trigger moment, and I found myself being really upset, like to the point where I started bawling, crying. It was a whole thing, right? And I was so upset. And so I allowed myself to cry and be in it. And then I started paying attention. Okay, what am I saying to myself? And the things that I was saying to myself was like, I'm just not good enough. I'll never be good enough for this person. This person will never approve of me. And essentially, the self talk was that I'm not good enough. Right. And so I could see the talk that I was giving to myself that was making me feel not so good. Right. When you think you're not good enough, right, that's when you start to notice, okay, what is the hater energy coming up? What are the hater blocks that are showing up right now? Right. I hate myself because I'm just not good enough. I'm just not good enough for this person. or I'm just not good enough in general, right? So you want to listen. The part of the liking process of yourself, you have to know what's going on in here. Because if you don't know what's going on, then we won't be able to shift it. All right. So it's all about awareness, it's all about listening. And this may be uncomfortable. So just know that it's not necessarily the funnest process, but it is a powerful, profound process that can remove and release that hater energy. All right. So next, I identify your pain point. Okay. Identify what is truly bringing you pain in this moment. So when this person said this thing to me, I realized what was bringing me pain was that, right? The more I like listen to myself, and even as I'm crying, like I'm crying, first I'm just crying and letting myself feel like the stuff that I'm feeling. And then after maybe 10 minutes of crying or however long it was, I started kind of doing this process. I was like, okay, so what is really causing you pain right now? Because this person can say whatever they want, but why are you feeling pain? What about this has is affecting you, right? So I realized that I said earlier that my talk was that I'm not good enough, I'll never be good enough for this person. So the pain that it was that I'm just not acceptable the way I am. The way I am is just not okay. I have to fix myself. I have to fix myself. And that is what caused me so much pain, that how I am right now is not okay. How I am right now is not acceptable. And that created even more pain. When you realize the pain you're in, it's going to feel more intense. It's going to feel like a volcano is erupting. And you're like, what is happening right now? I thought I loved myself. Right? But these triggers end up bringing up stuff that is sitting in our subconscious, our hater energy that already exists. It's really just bringing up hater energy that is already there. So now you're aware of that hater energy that is sitting inside of you. So first you're going to listen, and then you need to find out what is actually causing you the pain, because listening, just listening is not enough. If you just, okay, I realize I'm not good enough, so what? I've always felt that way. So now what? Right? So, but what is actually causing the pain? So for me, the pain was that I'm just not acceptable as I am right now. And that was super painful for me to realize. And then it brought up a slew of other traumatic events, right? It always happens. Like, even if you go through a heartbreak, not only does the present heartbreak come up, all of your past heartbreaks come up. Like, what is that about? Right? It's that it's all bundled up in that same energy. And that brings me to K. K is keep it kind. Okay? You might have heard keeping it real, keep it real. It's similar to that. Keeping it kind. Keep it kind. And why? Because this process can be super painful. So, what you want to do is create a container of love, of compassion, a container of just holding your spirit, holding your being, maybe even giving yourself a hug. And actually, in this moment, I was struggling so much that whole day. And I remember I had a presentation to do and all these things going on. And I had to kind of bottle it up so I could show up and do the work I needed to do. And then afterwards, I ended up going on a walk. And I ended up sitting by the trees. I find trees to be very calming and nurturing, right? And I thought it was silly in the moment, and you might feel that way, but I was like, I need a hug right now. And I literally just held myself sitting on the grass under the trees. And I can't tell you how comforting it was in that moment because I was in so much pain. Sometimes when that pain comes up, it can be really, really painful to face. So you want to make sure you're being kind to yourself. You want to make sure you're nurturing yourself. You want to make sure you're being compassionate with yourself. And that could even be just saying compassionate words to yourself. Sometimes when I'm in a really deep, painful moment, what I say to myself is, I know you're really struggling right now, but I'm here for you and I love you no matter what. And this just breaks it for me. Sometimes I end up crying, sometimes I end up whatever. It just opens up my heart. I'm like, okay, if nobody loves me, at least I do. Right? We need those helpful reminders when we're in those points of pain. So part of liking yourself. Now, if you don't remember any of this and you don't do any of it, if you only do this one, if you only keep it kind to yourself, it's going to change your relationship with yourself. You will like yourself more just because you're being kind to yourself. Because just imagine how painful it is to live in an existence of constant hate, of constant beating yourself, of constant berating yourself, right? It's not exactly fun. So just by only doing this one, you'll see a huge difference in shifting your relationship with yourself. Just by being kind to yourself, you will hate yourself less. All right, so let's get to E. So E is about engaging a new perspective. Okay, engaging a new perspective. At first, I thought about engaging a new identity, but I realized that's like a whole process. That's a lot. It's a lot of work. But engaging a new perspective, that's doable. And why I say engage, it's because it's a continual process. It's not just a one time thing. You are engaging with a new perspective because it may take some time to even have a new perspective. And it's not even about having a new perspective. You want to even start with considering a new perspective, right? Because when you're in that point of pain, and if it's self-talk that you've believed for 30 plus years, you're not going to just automatically have a new perspective, but you can consider another perspective. Just consider it, right? So I was kind to myself and I said, you know what? Even if this person said these things to you, it's okay because you know what? You're doing the damn thing. You are showing up and you are doing the work, no matter what this person is judging you about. You're still doing it. This is the hardest thing you've ever done, and you are showing up, girlfriend. So that helped me calm down a little bit in that moment. And then to engage a new perspective, right? I thought about it. I'm like, all right. Now, the comment this person made had to do with public speaking, my public speaking, and my nervousness around it, my anxiety around it. And it made me feel like something was wrong with me, that, oh, I shouldn't have anxiety. I shouldn't feel nervous, right? So I was making myself wrong. I was making myself unacceptable in this moment because of this person's judgment towards my process, you know? And the perspective I thought about was, wait a minute. And you may have heard this before. People's biggest fear in life is public speaking, bigger than dying. People's number one fear, bigger than dying, is public speaking. So no wonder I'm finding it difficult, right? No wonder I'm scared. This is a hard thing. Not a lot of people do it. So my anxiety is very valid. My struggle with, my before process of before getting on stage, before presenting, it's totally normal. Whoa, mind blown. There is nothing wrong with me. And then I remembered, and mind you, this perspective may not happen in a few minutes. It could take a few days, even weeks sometimes. And this for me, this process was a couple days. So don't rush it. Be passionate with yourself. Be kind with yourself. So then I thought about, you may have heard Brene Brown, and I think it's her book, Braving the Wilderness. And she talks about, look, if someone is not playing in the same ring as you, their opinion does not matter. Their opinion is not valid. When you are doing the thing that I'm doing, then you can come tell me your opinion about that thing, right? So someone judges your writing, someone judges your dancing. Are you a dancer? Are you a writer? Right? Only taking people's considerations or feedback when they are in the ring with you is what counts. A lot of people like to talk, right? And a lot of our hater energy has come from other people talking. So now we can undo this process. So as I did this like process for myself, I started with hating myself. And by the end of it, I was so proud of myself. And I liked myself, maybe even loved myself, because I was like, you know what? You're doing it. You're standing up and you're getting in front of people and you are teaching. You go, girl. It's okay if people don't understand your anxiety before it happens, right? So that was a really, really powerful process for me. And it's funny because as I was creating this talk, all of my hater energy was coming up, y'all. It was so uncomfortable. I was like, oh, this is so painful. But that was a testament to this process working. This process helped me hate myself less and like myself more. So, this is my gift to you on my birthday week. It can be such a painful experience to constantly be saying negative things to yourself and not feeling good about yourself, feeling like, oh, I'm not ready, I'm not this, I suck, blah, blah, blah. So, how can you use this process to help you? So, think about it. Next time you have a trigger this week, and I promise you, probably something will happen now that you attended today's talk, and you'll be like, what was that process again? So, L is listen to yourself talk, I is identify your pain points. K is keep it kind. And E is engage a different perspective. So good. So, in order to bring you back to that childlike wonder, requires you to become fascinated with yourself, to become curious with yourself, to build this relationship with yourself. Because you matter. Your place on this earth is not an accident. And the more you hate yourself, you are robbing yourself the experience of you. You are robbing yourself from the experience of your divine nature, of your joy, of the gifts that you are meant to give the world, right? Because when you're hating yourself, you tend to shrink, you tend to hide. Even for myself, I've had to go through this process to be able to show up and share this information. You are not here by accident, and you deserve to live a life that is full of joy and fascination and wonder. And I hope today's talk has inspired you to look at yourself with more fascination when you look in the mirror. Try it. Go to the mirror later today and be like, wow, look at me. Thank you guys so much. So drop your questions in the comments, drop your questions on the Facebook. I'm going to answer any questions you guys have. And I'm also going to share some awesome stuff with you. I don't know what it is, but I don't personally like the mirror effect on Zoom. So I'm going to switch it back. All right. So Jocelyn said, it's like that great quote, those who matter don't mind, and those who mind don't matter. So good. Yes, I'm going to read that one more time. Those who matter, they won't mind. Those who do mind, they don't matter. So good. Yay. Okay, thank you so much. All right, I'm going to check out the Facebook if there's any comments here. You look incredible. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So now I would like to share something with you guys. So I have found that self care has really been the answer to self confidence, has been the answer to more joy, has been the answer to more happiness, um, and so much. So if you want to take your self care, let me start over. If you want to take your self care to the next level, I have an invitation for you because I have found that self care is really what the game changer is. So I have launched a brand new program. It is called Flourish, and I love it so much. Oh, it is my brand new self care school. I wish I had this when I was in the depths of my depression. I didn't know how to flourish. I didn't know how to take care of my wounds. I didn't know how to take care of my depression and everything that I was feeling horrible about. I didn't know how to slow down because I was trying to keep up with everybody else. I'm sure you can relate to that, right? Burnout is not an accident. Everybody is driving themselves through the wall with more energy that they have to give. 76% of working professionals are burned out. And when you are that depleted of energy, you cannot show up. You cannot thrive. You cannot give. And that's why it is your job to take care of yourself. No one is going to be able to tell you the right way to take care of you, right? If I had listened to what everybody else was saying to me about how I should be more grateful, how I should deal with what I have because I have more than others, I would have diminished. I was already dead in a body that was alive and breathing, but inside I was dead. And I would still be there if I didn't end up caring for myself in a deep way. And no one can care for you the way that you can. No one can do that work for you. So I'm happy and honored to create this program for anyone and everyone who wants to transform their stress and live a life that is truly worth it. Not for other people, but for yourself. Because your life matters to you. Because you want to like yourself more. Because you want to enjoy and be fascinated with yourself and with your life more. So I want to invite you to flourish. In Flourish, in the self care school, I teach you how to unlock your stress. I believe that stress has a message for you. My stress during those times had a message for me that something was off. And everybody's stress messages are going to be unique to them. So, this is your invitation to unravel your own stressors in your life. And it may not even be that obvious because oftentimes our stressors are hidden. because it's just become a normal part of our lives, right? Everybody's stressed. But if you feel like something is just off, self care is the answer. Self care is going to give you the answers to what your heart and soul is truly seeking, why you feel a void inside, why you feel a little bit dead inside or a lot dead inside. So, in this program, you're going to learn how to work with your short term stress as well as your long term stress. Now, your short term stress could be like, you're running late today and everything is going, it's like Murphy's Law is happening, right? So, a stress tool to help you in that moment, but also long term stress, right? We're in the pandemic right now. A lot of people are having financial struggles. A lot of people are having home life struggles. So, long term stress that goes on from day to day to day to day. So you're going to be able to manage that. And these are tools we were never taught in school, y'all. And that's what makes me so angry. This is a life skill that we were never taught. So I decided, you know what? I am called to do this because I know how much I struggled without these tools. And now that I have them, I can give them to you. You're going to learn tools and practices to cleanse, to nourish, and reset your mind, your body, and your spirit. A lot of the healthcare industry focuses on body care, right? You got to eat right, you got to work out, right? But what about everything else? You're missing so much. That's why our health is continually declining. It's not enough. We need to do a full 360 wellness routine for ourselves, a self care plan for ourselves. And I'm going to teach you how to do that. I'm going to teach you how to build an integrated self care practice so you can experience more ease and joy in your life. And this is not another to-do list on your list of things to do. That's why I call it an integrated self-care practice, because we're literally integrating it into your everyday life. Instead of it being this extra thing I got to do, I don't got time. We're going to integrate it into your life. All right. So, why does self care matter? What is it going to do for you? What can you achieve when you take care of yourself? You're going to have greater confidence, right? The work we did today is part of the self care process. And it's going to help you have more and more confidence in yourself, in your abilities. You're going to feel deeper peace inside, right? If you're able to manage your stress, you're not going to feel as crazy all the time. Whether it's an internal tsunami going on and you're completely looking fine on the outside, or whether you actually look all over the place on the outside, you're going to feel deeper peace. You're going to have tools to handle the roller coasters of life that are inevitable, right? We can't escape it. Rejuvenation, you're going to feel more rejuvenated, more fulfillment, inner freedom, right? Because when that stress is driving the car, you don't feel so free. So, how can we get back in the driver's seat? And my two favorite that I left for last is you're going to have a strong sense of inner power. You're going to feel good about yourself. You're going to stand up straight. You're going to speak your truth, your needs. You're going to have boundaries. You're no longer going to be leaking your energy into places that is draining you. And last but not least, you're going to have stronger intuition. What? Intuition is what is going to help you live that unlived life that is sitting inside of you. When your body is full of stress, you cannot hear your intuition. You cannot hear your soul's calling. But taking care of yourself will help clear some of that noise out. All right, so the program is broken into 6 parts. We're going to start with building your self-care foundations, learning the unlock stress method, and then we're going to go through each care, mind care, body care, spirit care, and then how to flourish and how to integrate it all into one. Again, oh my God, I wish this was there when I was going through the depths of my pain. Now, you don't have to be in a lot of pain necessarily to want to take care of yourself. There's different levels, right? You're either down in the dumps and you want to be okay, or you're okay and you want to be good, or you're good and you want to be great. So there's different levels to it. And wherever you are, this program helps you with that. So you're going to have lifetime access to the self care school forever, as long as I have it open, which is going to be a long time. You're going to get tickets to all my self care master classes that I'm going to be teaching. Okay, so normally for everyone else, they're going to have to pay to get a ticket for the master class. When you join this program, you will get all of the self care master classes included. So even if I teach a class next year or the year after, you always get a free ticket. I'm going to be doing lifetime yearly alumni calls, which you'll be able to access and come get coached. And then the bonuses, which I'm really excited about, is you're going to get 2 tickets to my self care camp virtual retreats. And you're going to get 6 months of VIP mastermind group coaching calls. The coaching calls are really where the magic happens. Being in a safe container where someone can just hold your spirit as you're going through stuff, as you're up leveling, as you're working through things, can be the most healing experience ever. And for people who are joining in the beginning of the launch of this school, because this is a brand new school I'm launching, I'm also gifting you a private VIP with me, one on one, just you and I, a self care sabbatical experience. And we're going to be focusing on you specifically and your self care assessment and really creating a self care experience and plan that benefits you so you can thrive. All right. So your next step is you want to book a call with me at aditicreative.com/self-care. And in that call, we will do a self care assessment together. And there's absolutely no strings attached. If you feel this is aligned to you and it feels like the right next support for you, then we'll talk about it. If not, that's totally fine too. This is my gift to you. So you can go ahead and book that call. I have openings next week available. aditicreative.com/self-care. I can't wait to talk to you one on one. All right. So let's see if there are any more questions before we are wrapping up today. This has been so fun, you guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me these last few days. It has been really, really fun. It has been so transformative and healing, even for me. Again, if you haven't already signed up for the summit, you can sign up at aditicreative.com/summit because you can get all of the replays from all the 3 different expert guest talks we had this week. One on stop comparing yourself, one on the BS of self worth, and then today's talk. So if you want to be able to have access to that, you can sign up for free at aditicreative.com/summit. Don't forget that you matter and you are meant to experience the joys of yourself and this world in this time. It's not an accident that you are here. It's a privilege that we get to experience this human body during this time, during this age of extreme transformation that's happening around the globe. Although there is a lot of pain, there is also a lot of growth, healing, and joy. So don't miss out on that. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for tuning here with me live. And if you're watching the replay, thank you so much for spending your time with me today. And I will see you guys soon. I love you.